Greetings, this is Susan and I'm in from Chandidasa. Today I'm going to do just a brief live update on the situation in Bali with COVID. The most interesting thing to me is that I talked to a woman the other day from Java, and she was talking about how the government had changed the rules about coming to Bali at the last minute, and they already had a ticket to come to Bali, and now they're requiring a PCR test if you fly to Bali. And of course this totally sent them into a tailspin about what to do and how to deal with this and things, because there wasn't enough time between the change in the rule and when they were coming to Bali to even get the PCR test and get the results, which is an ongoing problem and issue here in Bali. So anyway, what they did was they changed their ticket and they flew to Lombok, which doesn't have this rule. And then they took the ferry from Lombok to Bali. And then, of course, they're traveling around Bali, and now then they'll go back to Lombok and fly back to Jakarta. So this just gives you a feel for the kind of chaos, in a way, that's happening around travel here in Indonesia. And part of it is that the government, of course, is trying to stem the tide of COVID. I mean, that's, of course, their intention. And these announcements happen rather quickly and suddenly, and so it throws people into a bit of a tailspin as to what to do with the tickets and plans they already have. So just be aware that if you're coming to Bali soon, and many people are coming now to Bali on social visas and business visas, just be aware that things change constantly here. And you know, when you leave your country, it's one thing. It may be different by the time you get to Jakarta or Bali. So just a word of warning. The cases are on the rise again after a dip in October. We're still having over 100 cases a day in Bali, and still having several deaths a day. Mostly Balinese, very few expats and foreigners seem to be getting COVID, or at least getting it severely enough to be counted in the numbers and certainly to be hospitalized. So that's kind of the medical kind of situation here. And the thing that's the most noticeable to me is the traffic. We have a lot more traffic. I mean, a few months ago, there was hardly anyone on the road. Those of us who live here were traveling some. Many people were still staying at home. Now, many people are, I don't know where they're coming from, to tell you the truth. Some people are bringing their cars from Java on the ferry, and so sometimes you see Java cars here in Bali, like this weekend. And the others, I'm not sure where they're coming from, but the traffic has changed, I would say, well over 100% from a couple of months ago. I mean, it's almost getting back to lots of traffic in Bali. Not quite that bad, but it's somewhat of a challenge now, driving. So that's, whatever that means, more people are obviously traveling. They're out and about. A few more places are open in terms of shops, especially on weekends when the people from Java tend to come. I haven't heard really any other people getting, that business is really picking up. I haven't heard that that's happening, although one would suspect it is, because there are more and more people here. So that's happening, and Ubud is doing quite well, I'd say, in terms of being quiet. Anyway, let's put it that way. Not being out of control, being quiet. Cafes are open. People are going to cafes. There's really no problem. There are certain rules, you know, about masks and social distancing, and that seems to be going well. What I hear about Canggu, especially in the south, is that it's quite wild. There are lots and lots of parties. They're starting to put some restrictions on who can gather, that you can't gather in large groups and things like that. But that isn't happening in Ubud. It's just much more quiet in Ubud. And of course, many of the people from Ubud went to Canggu for more excitement. And anyway, so that's kind of the latest I have to say about Bali and COVID. Basically, for me and in the village, it's quite normal, really. I mean, with all the restrictions, you know, the masks, social distancing, that kind of thing. But it's possible to meet your friends, go out, have coffee, have lunch, have meals with your friends, gather, usually in small groups, although sometimes in larger groups. And it really is pretty good in this area. So just to let you know, that's the latest, on my view anyway. And as always, I suggest if you want more information, you check Jackie Pomeroy's post on Bali Covid update, where she gives lots of information. Okay, thanks. Bye-bye.